All right. So what are the mindsets that lead to technical debt? Anybody know this character up here?
Yes, does.
He's winning.
He's winning. Tiger blood. Yeah. All right, we're not gonna do this anymore. Everybody know what this is? That's a clown.
Yeah.
Greenspan.
Greenspan. Okay. So it was October 2008, and probably one of the smartest guys in the economic world. He said, you know, I really thought the free markets were going to correct themselves. So, you know, even the smartest among us learn, right? That's sort of the message here. Who's this guy? Warren Buffett. So Warren Buffett, known for balancing. Yes, Jim.
I was just thinking, you know, the whole economic crisis was kind of an example of technical debt. You know, one of those things that you showed in the beginning of the frog eating up. It slowly happened. Everybody saw it happening. Everybody watched. Everybody knew what was going on. They just, you know, kind of put their head in the sand.
Yeah, it was just so much money to be made, right? There was so much to be gained in the short term, and you know we couldn't sell these repackaged mortgages fast enough, right? Yeah, that's a great point.
To me, that sounds like another example of the lack of leadership.
Yeah, I'm not going to indict anybody here, but because I don't know that I would have
To have to make a tough decision. So.
Yeah. So and so I mean, you know, that there are some major leaders here that were in this situation, right?
Yeah.
Well, sometimes the environment overrides you.
I can make an indictment because my 401k now becomes 201k.
Yeah. Cool.
All right. So the idea here, right, is that the mindset is either we're considering technical debt deliberately or we're not, and if we're aware of it or not. All right. So let's see if I want to kind of roll through some of these. All right. So this is about not knowing, right? So maybe for our re team, they just didn't know. I'm not trying to make any comments about anybody on the team. I'm just saying, you know, it's this that because we didn't walk in with the talents that we needed to make that happen. Okay, and sometimes we learn, and sometimes, rarely, we need to make a smart decision to time to market. This is a matter of survival. There's certain things that we'll set aside. It's extremely rare in my experience. Oh, okay. Here's all the bullet points. All right. So some technical debt is unavoidable because we learn as we go. We learn, and it's not just about developers learning the stack. And like technologies are just moving so quickly. You know, it's really hard to not be in a situation where you're learning as you're doing. But another aspect of learning that I don't hear a lot of conversation around is understanding what our business process actually is. You know, a lot of people are doing their job. They're not taking a step back and having to analyze and draw out a process map per se. So part of what we're learning is we go through these software development efforts where we're going to bring a computer system in to help us do our job better. This is the business processes of the computer system. We're learning as we're trying to make a rigorous definition of that business process. Those folks are learning that as well. So what they may think in the beginning of the project of how we're going to do things, as we get going, we say, oh, well, then I didn't realize that the system had this feature. Yeah, I thought that, I've been here for 15 years or 20 years, and this is how we've always done it. But we go talk to the user community, and it turns out that it's different. So some debt, some drift from a perfect solution is unavoidable. Sometimes it's strategic. So part of it is, and Anissa was saying this, how far do you want to go? right? So, are we building, you know, a little boat to make a small journey? Or are we setting out a flagship business critical product? So when your developers are not writing tests, you're leaking confidence to make the inevitable changes. You're taking on water. When your build and deploy is not automated, you're leaking time it takes to produce that build, right? If it's manual, you're taking on more water. When the software is written so quickly, the design is hard to understand, and you know, there's a big effort to make changes, you're taking on more water. You're leaking the ability to add tomorrow's features in a reasonable amount of time. So, you know, at first, it's a small effect, like we saw in our pair of equations. So, you know, you're chugging along at first, because if you're taking on a little bit of water, you know, it's a big ship, so you can keep cruising, right? You don't notice it at first. But then, you know, over time, if you don't do anything about that, then, you know, you're starting to take on a little bit more, a little bit lower in the water. You can't go at top speed. Still not noticing that it's having any major effect. But after a while, you take on enough water, and now you can't even get half speed. Pretty soon you're getting to the point where you're having to lock off sections of the ship. You can't touch your code anymore because it's beyond repair. Right? So if a ship springs a leak, what do? We fix it. Right? So if a team is taking on technical debt, what do? We should address it. It depends. So if it's about, you know, just if the system is providing sufficient functionality and we're going to end the life it soon, that's bad investment, right? Good money after bad. But if this is going to be taking us on a longer journey, especially if it's greenfield development, right? Then it's something that we should really address. It's irresponsible and unprofessional not to.